Do you know what it really takes for you to meet your goals? Are you clear on the sacrifices that you're going to have to sacrifice to meet your goals and what it actually takes? Like, we often plan for things or say that we want things or have our goals, but we don't really know what it takes to actually meet those goals. One, because we've never met those goals before, so we don't actually know the work that it takes behind it. But too often because we're naive, thinking that it's easier than we think, that it is going to take less from us than we think, or less sacrifices than it actually will for us to obtain that goal. So overall, when I sat down to write my goals, I had to think to myself, okay, these are the goals that I want to meet in 2020, but what type of person am I going to have to become in order to, or what version of myself am I going to have to become in order to obtain these goals? And one thing that my mom always says, and that she's been talking about lately a lot, is the fact that every level in your life requires a different version of yourself. So the version of yourself that it requires for you to make $1,000 a month is not the same version of yourself that it requires you to make $5,000 a month, or $10,000 a month, or $20,000 a month. You know, it requires different levels of sacrifice. It requires you to be out of your comfort zone in different ways. It requires, you to just be a different version of yourself. And I suggest, like I had to do, look at your goals and then look at and be honest with yourself. Right next to your goals, write down what it will take. You know what I'm saying? So prime example, say that you want to go from making $1,000 a month to making $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month. You need to then think to yourself, okay, what is it going to take for me to start making $2,000 extra a month than I am now? All right, maybe you have a job, but maybe you can get another one. Maybe you work in the day, but maybe you can get two other jobs. Like, you know what I'm saying? But saying that, you realize what it requires from you to get to $1,000 a month to $3,000 a month. One of those things being you picking up an extra job, and maybe more night job for right now, while you're building your business, or while you're going to school, or while you're doing whatever it is that you're doing that's preparing you to get to your next level. So to cover that $2,000, maybe you pick up another job, and maybe you shifts at your job now, more responsibility at your job now, which then requires you to step out of your comfort zone, which then requires you to have better time management, which then requires you to be more dedicated, more motivated, more self-driven. So all of these things, and sacrifice some of your personal time, right? So that's a sacrificing some of your personal time. If you want to add $2,000 onto your income per month, one of those things is going to be sacrificing your personal time, sacrificing Netflix, sacrificing downtime, sacrificing working on Sundays, sacrificing things like that for you to get that extra $2,000 in your pocket. So that's just kind of like an example of what I mean by knowing what it's going to take for you to get to those goals, because then you're able to be real with yourself. The reason why we often don't meet our goals is because we're not real with ourselves. And we have no type of self-discipline. If you are at work and you don't meet your quota, you get consequences. There are consequences that you face, and your manager disciplines you. But however, when we have goals for ourselves, we are our own management. So if you don't have self-discipline, or if you are not able to give yourself consequences when you don't meet those goals, then you're missing out right there, because there's no downside to not meeting your goals. Oftentimes we'll have a goal, we'll miss it, and then we just prolong the time span, and then we miss it again. We just prolong the time span until we just let go of the goal. And that's not how it should be. You have to push yourself to these goals. You have to hold yourself accountable, because how else will you meet your goals and get to where you want to go if you're not holding your own self accountable? And that's what I want us to go into. Well, we're in it now, but that's what I want us to continue 2020 thinking about and paying attention to, is if you haven't written down your goals yet, write them down. Pen to paper. There's something about pen to paper. Trust me. Write them down, pen to paper. Put them where you're going to see them daily. And then next, write down next to those goals sacrifices that you're going to have to sacrifice to meet these goals, and what version of yourself it's going to take, characteristics and traits of yourself that it's going to take for you to get to these goals. Okay, write those next to your goals, and then put this sheet of paper wherever you're going to see it every single day. Visit this when you wake up and before you go to sleep. Look at these goals and look at what it's going to take. Then also write consequences for yourself as to if you, God forbid, don't meet these goals, or what not meeting these goals results in for you, right? So that you have some type of, what's the word I'm looking for? You have some type of fear factor in there. Let's be real, like a fear factor. And that's how I want us to hold ourselves accountable for our goals this year, because we are saying that we want 2020 to be the best year ever, and that we want to, 2020 is our year and blah, 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 but we're still the 2019 version of ourselves. So if you're still the 2019 version of yourself, how are you planning to smash your 2020 goals when it requires the 2020 version of yourself? And I just want to leave you guys with that. Think about that. Write your goals down, write your sacrifices down, and honestly, really and truly do the work to work towards smashing your goals for 2020. And I promise you'll get there. We'll get there. Love you guys so much. See you guys later. Bye, guys.